Hello and welcome to Lesson 7, Video 2. We just finished up with skin tone and we're going to move on to the appendages of the skin. So when we look at the appendages of the skin, we call them cutaneous glands, and they're going to be exocrine glands that release their secretions onto the skin surface. And they're going to fall into two categories. They're going to fall into what we either call sebaceous glands or sweat glands. So sebaceous glands are commonly known as oil glands. They're found all over the skin except on the palms and soles of your feet, and that's so that you can better grip stuff and you don't have oily palms or feet. They usually open up in a hair follicle, but they also can open up directly to the skin surface. They release a product called sebum. Sebum is the oil that has basically just kind of dead cells, an oily substance, and it also contains chemicals to kill bacteria and help keep the skin moist. And some of us create more sebum than others. Me, for example, I have a very, very oily face, where some people have really dry skin. So here is a sebaceous or oil gland, and you can see this one here is actually just dumping off into a hair follicle to release onto the surface of the skin. Same thing, here would be a hair follicle, and then here's the oil gland here that releases it up into the surface of the skin. All right, then we have sweat glands. There's actually two types of sweat glands, eccrine and apocrine. So the one that you're most familiar with is going to be the eccrine sweat gland, and they're widely distributed about the skin. There's more than 2.5 million per person, and they're also known as sudoriferous glands. So like I said, eccrine sweat glands are the ones that you're most common or most familiar with. They are found all over the body, and they produce sweat, which is mostly water, but it has some salts, vitamin C's, and metabolic waste known as urea. And sweat is also slightly acidic, so it can help kill bacteria on the surface of your skin. It kind of looks like funnel cake. It kind of reminds me of that. It's a funnel-shaped pore in the skin. Really important for heat regulation. Obviously, as your temperature rises quite a bit, you release sweat onto the surface of your skin. The other type of sweat gland is known as an apocrine gland. These are the sweat glands found in the axillary or armpit and genital area. They're much larger than eccrine glands, and they always are going to dump into a hair follicle. These contain a different kind of secretion than regular sweat, and really the function is unknown. They think that it served a previous function in our ancient ancestors, but we do know that they are activated by stress, and that's what they commonly call sweat stress, and they really begin to function during puberty. Okay, so there's our apocrine glands. We've all been there. Okay, our last appendage is going to be hair and nails. So hair is produced by a hair follicle, and it's basically just a bunch of keratinized, highly squamous cells. The root is the part that's going to be enclosed by the follicle, and the shaft is going to be the part that projects from the scalp or the skin. It's nourished by the stratum basale, and then the tissues even below it. That's known as the growth zone. And then your shaft is that, like I said, highly keratinized dead protein. Okay, so there's your hair. Hair follicles basically contain an epidermal sheath, and you've probably pulled out a piece of hair before and seen that little thing on the end of it. That's actually your epidermal sheath. They do grow back. The outer dermal sheath is your blood vessels and connective tissue. It also has a really small muscle called the erector pili muscle. This actually pulls upright and gives you goosebumps. So every single one of your hair follicles has this little muscle attached to it, and when you get scared or cold, a lot of times that muscle contracts, and that's what you get goosebumps from. Once again, that's kind of a older function. They used to think that it made our hair stand up and make us look bigger to predators. Okay, so here's our little erector pili muscle. It's going to contract, and it actually pulls the hair upright. Just kind of an interesting little tidbit. Okay, nails. Nails are a scale-like modification of the epidermis. They have our free edge and our root. Once again, this is really just non-living, highly keratinized material that makes them very strong. And if you look, especially on your thumbnail, you can see that little white on the bottom, and that is the laluna, which is the white crescent at the bottom of the nail that helps with growth. Okay, so there is our nail, the laluna. You can see it growing. Once again, just very highly keratinized tissue. All right, that is it for lesson 7. Please watch the video again while you fill in your note guide, and if you have any questions, like I said, just please rewatch it again. Thanks for watching.